The Malaysian government has been promoting actively on the bio-based industry, especially on sectors such as biotech, biomaterials, biochemical, and as well as biofuel and bioenergy. And through corporations or organizations such as Bioeconomy Corporation, the government awards BioNexus status to qualified Malaysian companies who are undertaking value-added activities in the biotech, life sciences, and also bio-based activities or industries. And today, we have in this session an esteemed panel of speakers, which who will be sharing invaluable insights and also their experiences on the journey of how a bio-based entrepreneur can bring their ideation to commercial ventures. And before I would like to deep dive into this session, I would like to welcome our panelists to give an introduction about themselves and share on what they do. So we'll start with Dr. Khairul.
Right, thank you very much, Ms. Biru. So my name is Khairul Hafiz Shakawi. I'm the Head of Research and Product Development at SDAC, Sarawak Digital Economy Corporation, Berhad. So mainly SDAC is actually an implementing agency for digital economy in Sarawak. So we are spearheading the digitalization of Sarawak, but focusing on the private sector side. So this is where we are working a lot with entrepreneurs, SMEs, and also other technology developers. And the benefactors of our initiative are mostly the startups themselves, the entrepreneurs, and also SMEs that are going to implement or use this technology being implemented. Right, so on the innovation side of SDAC, because SDAC is doing a lot of things, from in terms of digital economy spectrum, we're involved in all of it, the whole spectrum, but in the innovation side, we are looking into growing the startup ecosystem. So this is technopreneurs and people from SMEs, digitalization and so on. So from innovation side, we always start with talent, where we try to inculcate interest in technology, digital technology, from school kids up to the workforce itself, right? And then moving forward, to grow the startup ecosystem, we are helping the tech startups to grow their ideas from the ideation to commercialization. But there's also another track that we are trying to create a deep tech startup. So these are companies starting off from research, especially in universities. So in Sarawak, we have a lot of universities. We are working with 6 of them now. So we know that they are the one who has a very, the most expertise in terms of creating new technologies from research in university. So this is another track where we try to spin them off through our accelerator program, so that they become technopreneurs at the end of the day, right? And again, with all those solutions or products developed by our startups, from the deep tech track or the normal tech startups, our SMEs are able to adopt some of these solutions. So the cost barrier for our SMEs to adopt new technology is much, much lower because it's homegrown. You have all the support locally placed. And also the sustainability is there because it will fit both sides, from the developers to the users as well. Right.
Thank you, Dr. Khairul. Dr. Tam, a brief introduction about yourself and ALPS.
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon. Dr. Tams from ALPS Global Holdings. Actually, we are a very unique company in the regions, because when we talk about biotechs, so many of the, when they see me and then when I share among, my surrounding friends, got a different from the biotech what you see in the regions. So I'm the CEO for ALPS Global Holdings. So actually we have so many of the players in the market. But in my company, we have a few SPV into the different so-called the area. Like into the microbiology, we have a lab into microbiology, and then into the CGMP, we have cultivate cell-based plant in the company. And then into the service, we have boutiques medical center on behalf of the company. So usually I'm talking about it very unique in the market is because biotech company is very difficult to survive. I mean, from the data, what we're seeing that talking about the biotech, not only in the regions, we're talking in the world, mostly the successful rate is very low. It could be less than 5%, or maybe even still more in our regions. So that's why when I come up with the idea, when talk about the biotechs, it's very difficult. So normally, the people don't ask how you're going to survive until now, especially during the pandemics. It's very difficult for every, I mean, it's not only into the company, every aspect, I mean, the area for the company. So that's why our company is, because I'm not saying that we are lucky, because we already have the, I mean, the planning to do on that. So this is a whole entire ecosystem, how we're going to survive before we talk about the success. So this is my point. I mean, when I share among all the players or the same industry, and you want to do some things, so you got to be survive before you talk about the success. Our company, yeah, is into the ecosystem. So when we start to do, I mean, for the structure for the whole company, actually we have so many plans in place already, and how we're going to, I mean, collect some revenue and profit to pay at least, not going to use the investor money, and then going to pay our salary. Yep. Thank you.
Dr. Tam. Raja?
Hello, everyone. I'm Raja Muhammad Saleh from MTC Iraq. We are a bioenergy company focused on, like I said, we are developing bioenergy. So people generally look into renewable energy as in you generate from renewable base to electricity. We go on the left side of things. What we do is that we convert waste into something that is we treat and convert waste into something that is monetizable, meaning we generate them into bioenergy, we generate into biomethane, biomethanol, liquid biomethane, bioammonia, and so on. So we are focused within the regions of Southeast Asia. We have built so far 6 here in Malaysia. With that success, we're heading into we call Negeri Seberang as in Indonesia, and we are trying to get things going because as our ministers have been talking, they have been talking about we want to be a low carbon country. We want to be the leaders in hydrogen. So to realize that objective, so here we are building bioenergy. So thank you.
Ms. Yani?
Hi, thanks Biru. Hi everyone, my name is Yani, the co-founder and chief commercial officer of Entomol Biotech. And a lot of times people will remember me as the fly lady because at Entomol we turn waste into wealth using this fly called black soda flies. And we're a proud company supported by Bioeconomy as well as SDAC. So we've received, in fact, both supporters have gave us grant as well. So yay. But essentially with black soda flies, what we're capable of doing is to convert any type of organic waste, be it food waste or any type of agricultural waste, into high protein animal feed. In fact, over the weekend, we just launched our insect protein-based chicken feed, which ultimately we hope that someday the chickens that you're eating is not necessarily just fed on soy or corn, but with an element of a very completely natural insect in it. So it's very high in protein, and there are also a lot of potential when we want to look into pharmaceutical development. So there are some preliminary studies where we can develop wound healing cream coming from the oil. There's also insect repellent that we can develop from it. But mostly we will be looking into animal feed, also looking into cat food, dog food, and also potentially insects that can be consumable by human beings. And then there's also the poo that comes from the larvae, which we will use as fertilizer. So essentially what we're trying to achieve with our solution is to close the loop of the circular economy, because with event halls like this, there are hotels as well, and a lot of shopping malls, there's so much food waste that's being generated on a daily basis. And with statistics, Malaysia is generating 17,000 tons of food waste every single day, dumping it into landfills. And if we want to fill it up in Twin Towers, it only takes 2 weeks to do that. So by diverting this waste into something that's resourceful, not only are we mitigating climate change, but we can also turn waste into resources whilst also enhancing food security. So that's something that really aligns with Malaysia's goals and policies when it comes to reducing carbon footprint, but also looking into food security. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Yani. That's a very interesting introduction from our panelists. As you can see, we have various bio-based backgrounds here on the stage who are actually known as trailblazers in their own ways in bringing innovation to the marketplace. And as we know, the bio-based industry, it's a very collaborative ecosystem and an environment that needs a cohesive working and collaboration and integration, where you have to, it's not just creating a product, but bringing this product to marketplace, which needs various kind of mechanisms and collaborations in place. And with that, I would like to ask Dr. Khairul his opinion on what are the current initiatives and programs that SDEC develops or is running to support bio-based entrepreneurs, predominantly in Sarawak, I believe.
Right, so as I mentioned, we have two tracks in terms of creating entrepreneurs from any industry, but bio industry is tightly coupled together with digital tech, right? So we have agri-tech companies that we are helping out, but in terms of the technopreneurs themselves, it started either from university. So from university, we are supporting research on any in any areas, as long as it has a digital element being developed for those sectors. Yeah, so normally they are working with the bio industry people, the domain science experts, right, to develop certain solution or technologies specific for those industries. So from there, once they have the output of their research, that is where we are helping them in protecting their IPs and then put them through our accelerator to turn them researchers into entrepreneurs, right? So this would be the spin-off from the universities themselves. And from there, we help them grow as a business once they are registered as a business, and then to look at their growth in terms of the business side of things. But we also have the normal technopreneurs that we are helping. So these are people who have their own ideas. They're banded 3 to 4 of them, through discussion or initial engagement, and then they decided to create a company to develop certain products that they can bring to the market. And because they are bootstrapping and so on, so that's where we are providing, for example, co-working spaces for them to start the incubation, for the incubation period, so that they can have a leg to stand on. And then, of course, there are like marketing exercise that we help them, engagement with potential customers. So we are supporting them in terms of that as well. And then when they have some traction, that's where we are planning or giving them consultation on how to scale up as well. So in Scale Up Accelerator, which we call Digital Village Accelerator, the acronym is DIVA, so aptly named, right? So Entoma is one of the participants of that. So because they want to scale up by incorporating some digital solutions, so we are looking to help them in that manner. Right, so those are some overview on what we are doing in terms of supporting the biotech tech industry as well. Even our research that we are supporting, a lot of those research are centered on the bioeconomy, right? For example, like I mentioned, agri-tech, we have smart farming, we have aquaculture solution as well, which requires more experts from the bio industry to actually lead the whole entrepreneurship segment as well. Yeah.
Thank you. That's very interesting. I mean, from what you're saying, Dr. Carol, the support from the government is crucial in terms of, hand-holding and facilitating our bio-based entrepreneurs to move in every stage of their commercialization life cycle. And with that, I would like to, direct this question to Ms. Yani. What actually inspired you to be a bio-based entrepreneur? Could you please share with us?
This is going to be a long story. So it started for me when I was 16, when my English teacher, I went to Chinese school, so my English teacher purposely needed us to be exposed to a lot of cool ideas. So she showed us this documentary called The Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore, and we all know that this ex-vice president of the US is a strong advocate for global warming. So this is probably 15, 16 years ago. At that time, there was a seed planted in me where I know I wanted to do something that can contribute into a more sustainable world. And then when I was at university, I joined this organization called ISAC. I'm not sure if people here know about that, but basically it's the world's largest youth-led organization. And when I was one of the executive board member, I was one of the batch of students that was introduced to sustainable development goals. That was also the time when I thought to myself, I know later on in my life, in my career, I definitely wanted to do something that relates to creating impact. So fast forward after a few kind of career jumps and development, I found two of my other co-founders who are super passionate about the environment, and we have this technology of breeding and using this insect called black soldier flies. And that was the time when I realized, I think this is a calling that I know there are skills that I can contribute to my team, and we know that this is a big potential that can be grown, not just within Malaysia, but definitely regionally and also on a global scale as well. So all three of me and my co-founders, we shared this quote, as we call it, be the change you wish to see in the world. Because in the industry of waste management, it's so easy to just dump everything to landfill and not think about it. But we know that this is the right timing where ESG trend is upcoming, where net zero goal is something that everybody is working towards. And with our kind of technology, it's the right time to bring it to the market where not only is it benefiting a lot of different corporates who are capable of paying, but also something that is really good for the earth, and also something that we know can be scalable across the world. So having that kind of diverse, skilled team, but also a team who shares the same mission is one of the main reasons why we kind of really dump in all our energy and money in. Yes.
Oh, that's very interesting. I guess it's a passion that drives. Along with the passion, it's the innovation as well. Innovation and research intertwined. And that's where, companies like Alps Global Holding has now, congratulations, has gone into the pre-IPO stage. Dr. Tam, I was reading up on Alps, and it was very interestingly, I kind of noticed on NASDAQ, it was recorded the transaction value of an enterprise for Alps is about USD 1.6 billion. I had to check with him earlier because I didn't want to get the numbers wrong. But it's very, very interesting how you actually grew that company, from what Yani, you just clearly mentioned, it's the passion. But of course, with that passion, you need to have the right team, the research, the technology, and innovation to drive. Can you please share with us what are the milestones has Alps Holdings achieved in the preparation of this pre-IPO? I'm sure it was an interesting journey.
Yeah, I think this whole journey, is fascinating. And then for everybody, I think so many of the surrounding friends also ask the same questions, how are you going to reach there? I say, I didn't plan for reach there, but I planned for something. So actually from a biotech company, just now, as I say, from the beginning, you need to survive first before you talk about the success. Don't talk about what you want to do for the future, but at least you survive. Unless you already survive, then, I mean, something will come to you automatically, actually. But it's the people who handle the whole exercise, is it they're ready for the pickup, for the journeys or not, or pick up for the challenge or not. So actually this is quite interesting, because into the biotechnologies we are handled with so-called the genes engineering. But into the journeys of the entrepreneur for the next step, it's a different way. It's a capital engineering way. So that's why I also, sometimes my chief scientist, Prof. Lavi is there, always talk about this. He is the gene engineering. I'm the capital engineering. I say, yeah, might be, but for me, for the whole journey, we might be learn something different for your career. So that's why this is quite different from the industry. At the same time, when we talk about the, for the last step, just now, actually from the, when you start raising funds from the publics, you might have a plan for the so-called exit plan for the investor. Everything you might be very clear in front of you. It's like the biotechnology. You must be very clear what you want. So that's why into the biotechnology, when you want to do something, you already target some things, behind already. So meaning this is the gene you want to target. So meaning in the whole journey, you got to target how to going to reach, the so-called the targets you want to go. So actually the same. From the, just now you're asking about the how. Actually the same. So when you target on that, you are going to looking some things like you're going to solve the problems, how are you going to reach there? So that's why many things we need to learn. The world is so big. So this is including, I just want to talk about the so-called the capital engineering. So, but for my advice is, when you're not ready there, don't talk about that. You just keep in your minds and then you want to reach there. But before that, for the fundamental, what you already built, for your industry, or for your company, you got to think about how to go into, for the fundamental or base you want to build. And then after that, only slowly plan on that, what you're going to achieve again. So meaning this is a new chapter for the company, because this is all the, I think it's all the entrepreneurs' dreams. One day, can I go there? I think entrepreneurs, they have a dream. But depends on the dreams, can or cannot, it's not can or cannot. It depends you want to take up the challenge, for your journeys or not, because this is not an easy way. And especially when you talk to the global player, global investor, and then a global professional. So you got to learn a lot and then prepare yourself before you talk about the, for the another milestone for your career.
Thank you, Dr. Tam. That's interesting. And as we are moving into a very evolving industry in the bio-based, one of the emerging sector is the bioenergy. And here we have Interajo Saleh, where the bio-based products, where I would say fueled with bioenergy innovation and technology behind it. Can you please share or elaborate how this bioenergy has influenced the development of and the growth of the bio-based industry?
That's a very good question. Okay, maybe I collect a bit from each points of the panelists now. If I were to start with Yanni first, the idea originally starts with waste to wealth. I like her product because we have done horticulture before using your products, and we were able to generate cash crops of 3 times the yield with your product. But then from that product, suddenly it goes to, you'll have, what do you call that? Grade C and grade Ds, where at the current moment in Malaysia or maybe in Indonesia, Southeast Asia, no one wants to buy that because you don't get the crunch, you don't get the sweetness, so people usually throw away. So what we do, from her product, we collect our product. So we generate biogas out of it. So if I were to focus on, let me divert a bit, we go to palm. So what we do is that we build bioenergy plants. When we do bioenergy plants, the plants generate biomethane, which is the heart of it, the heart of bioenergy. Where I think, like I mentioned earlier, we are going towards biomethanol, biohydrogen, biomethane, liquid biomethane. So it becomes a additional avenue for other bioeconomy business. In a way that it brings up new businesses for SDC. He gets to bring more entrepreneurs to come in with all of this. And same with Alps also. So it can kind of like, when all of us do this together, it kind of like, it brings a better business, brings better value, and in the same time, saves our environment. So that's the contribution of it. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, that's a very interesting sharing, because they say sharing is caring. But at the same time, as very aspiring entrepreneurs, we Malaysians, we like to share a lot. But in that process of sharing our innovation, our ideas, how do we protect these technologies or solutions that we are coming out with? And with that, I would like to ask the opinion or views from Dr. Khairul. How can entrepreneurs protect their solutions? And also, is there a way or a mechanism that SDEC implements to help or facilitate entrepreneurs on this spectrum?
Yeah, because we understand that IP is one of the valuable assets that can be owned by the technopreneurs, right? Because they have developed, especially on the deep tech segment, because they have spent so much time and money to develop that piece of technology. So we help them to identify the right elements to be protected under IP, because some of those, most of the time, public knowledge or easily interpreted. So those are not the valuable portion of it. So we help them to identify, apart from probably 10 features that they come up with, probably only 1 or 2 that's relevant to be protected, right? So we help them to identify those high value areas that they can actually file for an IP and protect themselves, so that moving forward, they can grow the ideas and create new IPs out of that, right? Or additionally, if they are willing to let somebody else to use the IP, then they can license it out, right? So similarly to our startups as well, if you feel like that piece of technology is very noble or unique, and there's a potentially high value to it, we will help them to again identify it, and even to help them with a proper commercialization strategy, how they can commercialize the IP that they have come up with. Like I said, they can further develop on their own, or they can license it out to somebody else. That would be an additional income stream for them while they are developing other products as well, right? So those are the things that how we assist our SMEs and also technopreneurs in the bio space as well, right? And I think a lot more in bio industry, there's a lot more IP to be protected, because that's a domain science. But the combination of the bio industry and also digital technology, we also can able to create new areas or new IP that has to be protected. Okay? So again, we have a couple of IP agents working with us, partnering up with us. So we always engage their idea or their recommendation to this.
That's quite an interesting strategy in place to assist entrepreneurs, where they can actually go to SDEC to get that support and guidance in terms of how you can strategize your innovation. And talking about intellectual property and intangible assets, it's very, very crucial when a company needs to go into a market expansion and when they are collaborating with third parties. And that's where, Dr. Tam, can you explain or share how ALPS actually looked into securing your intangible assets within the organization, and how it influenced your valuation, the company's valuation?
Yeah, very good questions. Okay, IP is the one thing, when you want to, measure your variations. So for the, I mean, the culture in between the Southeast Asia or Asians and in between the US, like Europe. So for the valuations, IP is tangible asset and valuable. But before we talk about this, you've got to be, I mean, the POC must be in place and then can show to publics. But for me, if you are a scientist, for the IP is you need to have a very good strategy how to go into, I mean, for the IP registrations. So because like our company, we have now currency, including partners, together with the university, we have 77 euros IP on behalf of the company. So for me, very simple, into the IP, you need to control, you need to have a very careful and how to go into process on that. So normally, because when you disclose everything very fast, I mean for the third party, when this is a value, they're going to copy on you. So before you're going to register, you're going to have a strategy how they're going to do on that is when you're going to register, the first thing. And then how you're going to register. And third, where you're going to register. So you're going to position yourself and then how they're going to do, and then you have to structure on that. When the timing is there, because when you're already there, when you already make the announcement or something, it's already become the value into the markets ready, sure they will come. But none saying that it's no good or good, because there's a pro and cons ready. Because on behalf of your team, if let's say this is the so-called IP you can create, why not you're going to create more advanced to replace the old method? I always talk to my team, I'm saying that this is the IP you can create, but eventually it can be better than this IP. So come back into the fundamental, I think still coming back into your team, whether you have a very strong team behind to cover so-called the IP. Actually into the investment, normally, yeah, they're looking into the IP, but at the same time, they're also looking into the team, whether you sufficient, I mean, for future, how to go to cover so-called the copycat for the market. Because normally, IP is one thing, but the team value still is one thing. So if let's say you buy the IP from the party, for me, this is value, but it's not a long-term value for your company. So eventually come back to the fundamental, it must be projects and strategy, how to go to do, including your team. This is our company policy and strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, that's awesome. Because I think when it comes to innovation and getting your products out there, that's one thing. But then strategizing every aspect to the ultimate business goal is another. Where is the company going to head to, the direction, the strategy behind it. And that's where I think technology validation. Most of us tend to overlook at that. We think our products or innovation is the best thing in the world. But then I think what we need to do is have a proper technology and market validation process in place. And with that, Antomal, how did Antomal conduct the right market validation? Because convincing people with the black soldier fly, which I got the opportunity to have a look just now, was quite interesting. Yeah. So, Ms. Yani, could you please share with us?
Yes, absolutely. So, in a way, as a seed stage startup right now, I would still say it's on the early adoption stage for us. But as we kind of decided to, so as Entomal, we were established in 2019. We started off as actually an engineering consulting firm for black soldier flies around the region. And that has helped us to achieve really great product market fit. But with COVID, that was the time when we really need to squeeze all the brain juices and find new ways to make money, because otherwise, like Dr. Tam also shared, we really need to survive during that stage as well. So what happened is we decided to kind of look into what are the upcoming trends, what are some of the things that we can achieve using black soda flies, but also looking at some other competitors. What are the failures that people are facing or challenges that people are facing, but also what are some of the successes, what are the demand from the market that is upcoming. And that was the time when, after a lot of analysis, studying all these different players around the world, we decided in Malaysia, with this ecosystem, waste management is something that we can achieve. And also, we are mitigating some of the risks that other people are facing. And when we needed to talk to actual paying clients, we actually needed to leverage on a lot of resources from, as we say, from Bioeconomy, CDAC, SDAC, even Kazana, Dana Impact, and things like that. So we really leveraged on all these resources that we can garner to help us propel into the first and second and upcoming paying clients. Because by attending all these events that help us to connect to the right corporate partners or bigger players, that's kind of how we saw the potential in the ESG space. We started to understand that all these corporates in Malaysia really decided, even though they knew the importance, but now is the time when they realize, oh, I really need to fork up some money to invest in ESG and being more sustainable. So that's kind of how our transition came by and how we started to focus more into waste management. But moving forward, what we also see a lot of potential is when we are talking about food security. Because as someone who lives in Kuala Lumpur, food is so abundant to us. We always waste food without realizing the scarcity of it. But on a national level, if we were to feed 34 million mouths every single day, how do we actually supply all this chicken, beef, eggs that we need to eat? Because during COVID, we also experienced the egg and chicken shortage and prices going high. And that's the time we saw how we can actually help or contribute to the nation when it comes to feed security. So how can we feed the chickens so that we don't just rely on soy and corn that eventually, with all these wars happening around the world, prices will go up, and it puts on more pressure for us as Malaysians. And coming from two of my other co-founders are Sarawakians. So for them, they really think a lot of contributing back to Sarawak. And for me as a Selangorian, I also think about how I can contribute to Malaysia as a whole. So that's when we think chicken feed is also something that we definitely want to capture. And we realize, oh, other players can't really go into that market yet. And that's a really big potential for us. So back to the kind of story where when we saw a lot of potential in this, we started to realize that paying clients also saw the opportunity and the compliance in this. So that's kind of the right timing for us to enter. Yeah, because if we were to come in a few years ago before COVID, to be fair, no one would actually pay for solutions like this. So I think timing is also, like Dr. Tam mentioned as well, timing is also very important, and strategy, how we kind of plan for that.
Right, and having the right strategy is crucial, but I'm sure, despite having the strategy, having that group behind us, I'm sure every business will encounter some form of challenges. And Interaja, what are your common barriers in bringing innovation or the adoption of bio-based innovation in the marketplace?
Okay. Number one, the biggest challenge is making everyone believe in what we are doing. When we did bioenergy for the first time back in 2019, no one believed it. No one said, no lah, won't happen lah, takkan jadi lah. Siapa pernah buat biomethane dalam Southeast Asia? Tak ada. So what we did was, number one, we came to Bioeconomy. No, really, because they believed in us back in 2019. They believed in us. We built one of the very first biomethane plants here in Malaysia, in Sedenak, Johor. We got to convince our partner, Johor Plantations Group. I think MOSTI visited them month end of June, a few days ago, to show that plan, saying that let's convert Sedenak palm oil mill, the biggest mill in that company, that is processing about 450,000 tons of fruits. During that time, they were attacked rigorously by the politicians because they were producing quite a number of pollutants. So what we did is say, come, let's do this. Let's treat your waste, get you complying to all of the regulation problems. In the same time, let's get this going to commercialize it. So we got them to partner with us. They hold 55%, we hold 45% of the plan. Then Bioeconomy gave us the BioNexus status facility, which convinced financiers like Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. During the time, we met about 10 bankers. None of them believe it. So we built the plan. Then came COVID. It couldn't work for 2 years. Then we finally built it and started operation and selling to Gas Malaysia Berhad in May 2023. So moving from there, it came other beliefs. Shout out to my partners at the back there. So they are the ones who believe in that. My partner here, Fadli, he's the one, under his belt, he's already built 4 in Malaysia, another 2 on the way. So yeah, I think the biggest problem, I think, same with all of my panels here, getting people to believe in what we are doing. Once we get the belief, then it starts running. So that's what. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I guess convincing your investors and your stakeholders is very crucial. And how can entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs or those who are already in the journey, what's your advice, Dr. Khairul? How can they position themselves in terms of attracting the right funding opportunities? So what are the parameters that they need to know? And what would the stakeholders or investors are looking when these companies are pitching for an investment?
Well, I think first and foremost, they need to really identify is whether their product really solves the problem. Sometimes when, especially if they've gone through the R&D process, they would think that they have developed something that is very cutting edge, or people would, ready to buy it, off the shelf, from the lab, hot from the lab, right? But most of the time when we do the market validation or even the technology validation, their technology is not 100% of their technology is needed by the industry, by the market itself. So to come up with a product market fit is one of the most important things, because they can be misaligned between what they think their product can do and what the industry really needs, right? So I think, I think this is also true for all segments of entrepreneurs, right? Because you develop something and you think that this will solve some of the solution, but then the industry say no, we actually need your technology for the other part of our problem, for example. So if that's the case, regardless how sophisticated or cutting edge your technology is, if it's not really fit to the market needs, then it would not be accepted by the industry. So in terms of getting your products or getting your clients to use your products, it will be a very difficult battle, right? So I think to make sure that you understand what the market needs are, and then whether your problem can solve their problem and or being value added to your potential clients, only then you can start to get more people to use your products or use technology, right? So, and I think that's what most of the time people overlook this kind of thing. They know that, for example, IoT can do a lot of things. They try to put AI in everything, right? But it doesn't mean that it will be acceptable by the industry, right? So I think that's one of the most important parameters that they need to look at. But of course, the second one is you are targeting the right market as well, right? So some of the solutions, although it's very simple, but eventually it will create a value added to that specific market that you are creating the products on. So, and from there, then you can extend further, in terms of your products, you can expand it to other industry, or you can replicate it to other solution as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khairul. So what I understand is, in terms of preparing our solutions or innovation company strategy, it should be a blend of technology, strength, market strength, the financial strength, understanding what's the projection, what is the scalability of our innovation into the marketplace. Are we just operating within this domain, our local domain, or what's our market expansion strategy? So it's a holistic approach that investors tend to look into. And also it's very important for us to understand who are our competitors in the local landscape as well as international landscape. So what we need to understand, are they competitors, or can our competitors be our complementers, is something that we also would like to understand and maybe do more study on that basis. So in that sense, right, how does HELPS or Holdings position itself or the company in terms of the market expansion? You are moving towards globalization, internationalization of your company. How can these bio-based entrepreneurs, what's your advice in positioning themselves?
I think coming back into the fundamental too. So this is still, okay, in terms of you're going to, sometimes we're talking about into the commercialized, into the public, into the social or into the others markets. So you got a strategy very properly, how are you going to do on that? Whether you want to compete with them or whether you're going to be like collaborations. So normally the people when talk about the business, normally this is a norm. Human being, they make a mistake. Always is overestimate what they thought. So when you into the markets, normally you can't see what you are doing because the market is so big. So from behalf of the company, normally we don't talk about that. Into the market, whether we can have some collaboration in the player or together with the so-called the marketeer or player, the same industry. So into the entrepreneur, the fundamental is into the how we're going to survive. Just now I talked this many times already. But survive at the same time is not talking about the investment from the investor. You got to survive, you must take the money from the market to pay your salary. So how are you going to do that? So when this coming to the so-called the crucial thing into the company, normally either you die, into the markets, or either you kill yourself. This is very normal. You can see surroundings, or maybe from your surroundings, friend and family, you can see this always happen. Sometimes the sweet side also don't know. So that's why from the entrepreneur, inside, you got to always might be alert what you're doing now. And then what is the plan B and C? So always think about that. I always share among my colleagues saying that because we are human beings, we always have the blind spot. So we can't see what's happening inside, in front of you. So that's why so many of the, we so-called the mistake we make. So this is a norm. That's why always think and more about the planning, and then discuss, and then always have how to going to improve yourself. Overestimate is norm, and then sometimes we underestimate also is a norm. So entrepreneur, I give the advice is, if can possible, keep going, learning, and ask for help.
Okay, and in terms of, I want to direct this to Ms. Yani and Raja. The government has, given this BioNexus award or status to qualified companies, and I'm sure you all are one of them. And this actually allows companies to get fiscal incentives, support, facilitation for the growth of a company or as an entrepreneur in the biobase. Can you, both of you are just opening up as an entrepreneur, what kind of government support did you get, and how that support, accelerated your journey as an entrepreneur in this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start first. So we are a bio-based accelerator startup. So to date, because we are still pretty new in a way, only 1-2 years old in Bioeconomy, so we've received the prestige grant from Bioeconomy, which really helps us in terms of our kind of technological plan for R&D, for marketing strategies and things like that. But also at the same time, one of my main role is to really look at what are some of the open resources that we can garner from the government. So to date, we've secured some grants from Khazanah, from Yayasan Hasanah as well. So in fact, the grants will help us in terms of setting up our pilot plan moving forward. We also took part in a few challenges that are organized by our government agencies. So CDAC, the Selangor Information and Digital Economy Corporation, we took part in their accelerator. In fact, our very first accelerator 2 years ago, we got into the top 5. And we really got to leverage that platform to help us get to know markets like Taiwan, Thailand, Vietnam, and last year with ALPS as well, we went to the US together to learn about all these investors, what they think about in terms of Southeast Asia startups. And also at the same time, we took part in Think City. They organized some urban challenges, which for us, we do contribute into making our urban areas or communities more sustainable. So that's also giving us some grant support and leveraging us or putting us to be connected with different organizations and associations around town that we can help to spread the awareness of. And also with SDAC, last year we graduated from the DIVA program, which is the Digital Village Accelerator. And that was also the time where we really got to learn about the Sarawak ecosystem in a deeper kind of understanding way, and also leverage some of the grant support to help us on the marketing side and also market expansion. And with MGTC, the Green Technology Council, we've also worked on how we can help to empower biotech or bio-related graduates to come into bio-based companies to really help to open up the bioeconomy for fresh graduates. In fact, the philosophy or the reason behind why Entomal is called Entomal, it actually represents Entomology Malaysia. So entomology is the study of insects. So ultimately what we are actually opening up is the opportunity for biotech or entomology graduates to work in not just pesticide companies, which are very chemical based, but working in an insect company that can really contribute to a better world. So yeah, there are a lot of other support that we've garnered as well, not just governmental support. Last year, we also took part in the Petronas Future Tech program. So through them, we really got to know a lot of the big corporates around Malaysia that they partner with. They also bring us to market expansion trips as well. So a lot of times, a lot of dots are connected, really thanks to all our supporters from government. And again, the other thing that we also look into is the policy making part. So because of being a bio-based accelerator startup, we got invited into the National Biotechnology Policy Forum, where we can contribute into the conversation of policy making, especially in our own industry and especially with all the other bio-based industries as well. So these wouldn't have happened without the support that we have from all these different agencies. Yeah.
For MTSO, right? Maybe we are not as fortunate as you yet. Because our business is still in infancy stage. We need to do a lot of educating to the government sectors. Like, for example, if I were to take Malaysian Green Technology Corporation, you mentioned just now, to them, energy has to be electricity. They don't see it as fuel, they don't see it as derivative, so we are educating them. My friends down there, they are having a challenging time to educate the Department of Environment, the DOSH, Department of Safety and Health, saying that these things are safe. What we are doing is we are saving the environment, we are saving people, we are giving them money. So lucky we have bioeconomy lah. Lucky. Nanti bagi lagi ya, lagi insentif nak lagi lah. The next one is that we are working through bioeconomy. What they brought us as a BBA company, they brought us to Singapore back in May. We presented to the IPEF Clean Vessel Forum. So from there, from that success, yeah, we are having a great time right now. We are pitching to a lot of investors. So hopefully we get to have someone invest in us so that we can grow bigger, because we have to grow bigger together with other people, because we have to match our partners too. And other than that, on the technical side, we have to get government bodies, policymakers to believe in what we're doing, and this is a proper business that can be grown for our country and to put Malaysia on the international map as a low carbon country.
That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing your experiences, Yani and Jaraja. I guess it's a very vibrant ecosystem that we have, and as entrepreneurs, SMEs, there is so much that we can leverage from the local government support. You know, when it comes to biobase, we have a few organizations that, you know, support, and predominantly it's Bioeconomy Corporation with the various programs that they are supporting us with. And in terms of the funding mechanism, the platform is just vast. You know, you have government support from pre-commercialization right up to commercialization stage. And then you also have for, you know, Series A, Series B, we have a vibrant, you know, recently launched in, you know, Q1 and Q2, the VC, you know, ecosystem in Malaysia. So the vibrancy is there. It's just about how we connect the dots, like what Yani said, and of course, how Interaja just mentioned. Although you're at infancy stage, at the initial stage, you got to identify which doors to knock to, who to collaborate with. And with that, I would like to, you know, ask Interaja, Dr. Khairul, on some of the success stories of SDEC. I'll give you a break, Interaja.
Yeah, so I can tell you the story of one of our startups that they started off with as a blockchain company that, you know, do a lot of blockchain solutions, especially for traceability of meat coming from Sarawak itself, right? So it helps a lot in terms of getting them the certification needed for them to export their products out. So the technology being adopted by livestock company that able to have this traceability on their products, right? So in terms of getting HACCP certification, for example, is so much easier in terms of, because the traceabilities are there, all the documentation are there. So they started off, you know, with a blockchain solution company, but then they looking at other partnership with other companies. So they found there's one company that's creating or manufacturing recyclable pellet. So this is very sustainable or recycle-based pellet for products, right? So when they both partnering up, so they come up with a solution. So that company that come up with the recyclable pellet, they already have a good products in terms of sustainability, to promote sustainability, because their pellet can be recycled, you know, many times into a new pellet.
And we have audiences here comprising from, you know, SMEs, entrepreneurs, researchers, universities, and also government agencies. So what I would like to pose this question is, how important are collaboration with academic institutions, government bodies, and other industry players in bringing bio-based products to the market? Of course, it's no longer we work in silo, right? It's a collaborative, a very cohesive environment. Yeah, you may share your experiences and also the importance of how we can do this moving forward in bringing our products to the market.
Maybe I start up first. It is really important to build a proper relationship, a strong relationship with your partners, industry players, because when you are in a new industry or you build a new industry, you need all hands on deck. So all experiences are very important. Let's say, for example, if we were to relate ours, biomethane over in Europe is something not new. The Europeans are well versed of it, but then their knowledge, their experiences are based on their ways. Their ways as in they are dry, they are segregated, their country is cold, and not say cold, meaning their weather is humid, dry, whilst ours is humid, we are pedas, basah. And sorry to say, I think that goes for me also. My ways, I just mix up everything. My nasi lemak masuk dalam tong sampah sama, my batteries masuk tong sampah sama. So our technology that we bring in, we have to do it based on our experiences, our Nusantara experience. So when we do that, we have to collaborate. Let's say I collaborate with people at the back there. There's Big Blue, there's Renicola, there's Evonik. So these people, they have their own experiences from each state, each environment. So if we don't work together, it won't fly. The business won't fly. So if we have the dream of really doing this together, we have to work together. That's the way collaboration. As for academicians, in a way that we have to get them to agree, there's a term, agree to disagree, where they have to agree that what we are doing can't really be researched on through long-winded researchers. What we do now to get people believing, let's get it done commercially. Do a proof of concept first, then only research later, because you need things going. So that's our experience on the bioenergy side.
Yeah, very good. And then I think I can add on some things like very important things, I think, into the academics and the private sector. I think from the beginning, I think is a trust. It's very important. And then the trust is there. Many things we can do. And then because of the academy, because in the Malaysia, from the government perspective, they are not, target for the commercialize. They are target into the paper. But from the beginning, you need to know how to go into giving, the both party trust. After that, mutual understandings. And then from just now talking about the POC, from the beginning, because normally we need more people into the hands-on for the POC and pre. And then we going in for the ready for commercialize. Then we share among the benefit both party. So from the beginning, I think to get the trust is the most important and crucial things we need to, from the beginning. So I think entrepreneur, you need to learn how to go to talk to the, the academics. And then if let's say you can talk about that, and then you are ready to do that, and then you're ready to pick up the projects. I think from the POC to pre, I think is there.
Yeah, so in our industry, a lot of times we want to work with academics because we need that credibility. Because the flies comes from the nature. Chickens eat that as a nature as well. But how do we make sure that it's safe for human, safe for animals, and safe for everybody else? This is where it brings out value in terms of the credibility, which is why definitely very crucial to work with them and also to position us as a leader in this industry. Because a lot of times we have the impression where Malaysians tend to be a follower when it comes to a lot of technology, but there are a lot of amazing research and innovation that comes out from our university. So if we're able to keep that going, the wheel running, then we're definitely able to bring an industry like ALPS being a new unicorn status today with the innovation that we garnered from all the academics that we work with.
Yeah, I have to agree with all my panelists because I've worked with university directly in terms of supporting their research and bring it out to commercialization. One of the things that we always emphasize is to collaborate, interdiscipline, inter-industry, right? So that, because we understand coming from digital tech segment, the digital experts are not able to push their product on their own because it is a tool to solve a problem in other industries. Right now, more than ever, digital technology is much more, we call this democratized. Right? Everybody is using digital technology, so we always emphasize on collaboration. But of course, like what Dr. Tam said, trust is important. So this is where expectation from both sides, academia and also the industry themselves, has to be realistic and very clear, because the academics people, when they hear research, they have their own perspective on it, and when industry looking at it, they have their own perspective on it. Like for example, they try to push out POC as soon as possible before they can have a deeper research being done, right? So I think to build that trust, there's also must be a tolerance between those two, and also an expectation, a real expectation, right? So because this is a global problem, similar to other universities in the world, there's always been friction between the industry and academia in terms of expectation. So the industry expectation is get it out as soon as possible. There's, the academia said, let us do this, at our own pace, right, for example. But I think it is important if both sides looking at the value that the other one can bring to the table. For example, the industry can cut off their research time or budget in terms of getting R&D to be done, right? You can outsource it to university, multiple university, for example, to collaborate on one project. And the university should look at the industry as one of their, to cut down their barriers in terms of entering to the market itself, right? So there have to be a lot of awareness and also educating to be done for both parties so that they can see the value of each other and then move forward from there. So we always emphasize on collaboration, but those things that we need to build before we can reach up to that level. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so it looks like this collaboration that we do with stakeholders, multiple stakeholders, trust is very, very important. As we are collaborating, regardless, it's a collaborative research, co-development, contract research. Both worlds, what we have to understand is the industry has its own expectation, the academia has its own expectation, and we need to come to a understanding to build that strategic relationship between the two worlds so that the innovations can actually see the light of the day. And rightly pointed out, regardless how many IP papers we have, publications, if you're not able to translate that into a POC where the market can be able to look into and actually say, hey, this is what I want, then you can't do much. So it's about what the market needs, how you're going to validate that with your potential partners, establishing the right strategic partnership, getting the right agreements in place, what kind, pre-commercialization, commercialization, understanding at what level your innovation is, a technology readiness level, commercial readiness level. So you need to understand the mechanisms that you need to put in place. And as an aspiring or new entrepreneurs, there are many platforms and channels that you can actually seek for these advisors. And later, after we conclude the session, this moderation session, we have the meet and greet with our panelists, where feel free to ask them, where they are able to share their experiences on how they have actually gone through the journey of a bio-based entrepreneur. And with that, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to my panelists here, the esteemed panelists, Dr. Cairo, Dr. Tam, Inchi Rajasale, and Ms. Yani, for being with us and sharing the challenges, the triumphs, the go-to strategy, and many insightful information that we can leverage. I certainly found this very interesting. I think we can go on, but I'm opening the floor for Q&A, where you can actually, maybe we can pass the mic to the participants, and you can actually impose your questions to our panelists. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I think it's a very, very interesting panel, very enlightening. I think trust is very important. It's not a question, it's just a comment. I just want to say where we are heading towards, the country is heading to. Universities, academia is going towards papers and publications and so on. I was in the industry. I was in the university for 25 years, published a lot of paper, I became professor. That's it, it stops there. The university goes in one line, industry goes in one line. But if it doesn't, two of them don't meet, it doesn't reach the people. The purpose of research is to elevate the people's quality of life. But both go separately. I think they should find a way to match. One of the reasons I'm with ALPS is that I developed cholera vaccine. When I want to go for clinical trial, so I parked the company under ALPS, Max Biotech, that's why I'm here. So always, I think we might have a policy, whenever the government gives funding, they should link the industry and the university. Thank you.
To address or share their.
Yeah, actually, I totally agree on your view as well. And I think that's why I said, this is a global problem. All countries facing the same thing. The academia are not really talking to the industry and vice versa, right? So that's why the bridge of collaboration is to be built, right? But like I said, it has to be based on expectation. Because if not, then they will create more friction, and then the trust will not be able to be built further. So I think because we have a lot of these experiences, that's why for research, even for research done by universities that we are funding, we emphasize on collaboration, especially with the industry themselves. So they need to have industry partners ready that they already talk to, build rapport with, so that that industry can actually bring their products to the market, or be the validator of their technology. So this will bring value to the researchers themselves, knowing that the research output is being utilized by an industry, and from there to commercialize it will be so much better, because there's already a reference point. There's industries already using it. It's validated by industry players. Now it's just a matter of getting it refined for the market itself. So I totally agree on that, on both sides, which is the problem and also the solution, right? And I think that's where we are trying to play a role. And we try to educate other government agencies that giving out funding as well. For example, Department of Agriculture, if they give certain funding to the farmers or to the technology companies that coming up with the agri-tech solution, we try to tell them, look, work with universities, with agronomists, so that your implementation of technology is also being supported by people from domain science, right? So this is the subject matter experts. So because a lot of digital tech right now, people coming from digital space that are implementing agriculture, those kind of things, but they don't have a knowledge. They know that the IoT will collect data, but what kind of data that is meaningful to the farmers? That's the subject matter experts, So digital people, IT people, they don't have that kind of knowledge. So we ask them to work with universities, lecturers in agriculture, as agriculturists, that, okay, this is the amount of, fertigation that you need actually, right? So we ask both of them to collaborate, right? So on both sides, yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think it's timing for this to urge maybe biotechnology company, biotech group, for building up the gaps in between the academics and the private sectors. I think for the academic, they've done a lot of the research, especially in the POC, I think, a lot. So why not we are going to, ask the government agency to provide a platform for this in between the academics and the private sectors into an event or into a meeting, just sharing, all the academics projects. And then the company who want to put in down the money or put in down or adopt the projects, potential for commercialize. I think in our academics, they've done a good job really. But because of the, some of the, it's not regulation, it's something like the policy of the academics, the limit there. So for me, it's like these past few years, I talked to a lot of the academics. I found that, from the projects, they've done a good job. It's only a limit because the commercialized parts. And for the, the whole ecosystem in Malaysia is not there yet. That's why now current, because of the our Yang Amat, Promat, Anwar Ibrahim, and Tuan Chanlikang is urged for another unicorn and more, the similar technology company in these regions. We can come up with some idea together with biotech corps and then how to go into, for future planning. It might be 1 to 3 years times, in between the academics and the private sectors can have a very good chemistry. And then the trust is there. Then I think this is for the future. It's a beautiful future for both parties. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, we will take another 2 more questions before we wrap up, and then you are free to mingle with our panelists later. Any more questions for our panelists?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Asma from Netza Biotech Company. I would like to ask for 2 cents for a startup company because I just started a startup company under University Putra Malaysia. So we are really a baby here in the commercialization industry. Thank you.
Anyone would like to take?
Can you refine the 2 cents that you want? If not, we'll be giving you 50 cents, so it will be long-winded.
Actually, it's just how do we, because our product is actually, we want to produce a local product. So it's actually a kit that is used for DNA extraction. So mostly, currently, all labs use imported ones. So there is no local ones yet. So we are just producing that. So we are actually competing with large companies, basically. So yeah, how do we put a place in the market currently? Yeah.
I think I can answer your questions. Just now the question, before that we have the questions ready, how are you going to compete or not going to compete? I already have the answers ready. Either you suicide, either you killed by somebody. Very simple. Talk to the player. Collaboration with them. So meaning in the same times you can doing some things, you just share information, let them go into contact you. The player from the house, from the foreign company. Very simple. Okay, do a market research. What is the current, the pricing they're selling now? And call them for the meeting. How to go in? You don't using the strategy to go to compete with them. No. Going to looking for them, ask for the collaborations. There might be another big company formed together with the foreign company. Because into the blendings, if let's say into the products blendings, your local product, you cannot compete with them. That's the first thing. And then second, if let's say these are the import products, they are giants company. If let's say they already into the market, they want to kill you very fast, no more already. So they do a market research. This is my personal advice. Do a market research. Call them for a meeting. Why not you going to produce your products together with you? And then make a pictures, local products. And then for them, they can cover more area because you are Malaysian, you are local producers. This is my personal advice and for a new startup. Thank you.
One more
I
question.
hope I can answer the questions that's already there.
So we'll take one last question before we wrap up this. Anyone? Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vic from Entomo Biotech. Firstmost, congratulations to Dr. Tam and Elves on the pre-IPO. And it's such inspiration how Dr. Tam can drive the company to be so successful and towards IPO. And I don't have questions. I have a comment and suggestions that Bioeconomy should do more events, some kind of mentoring events, and to invite Dr. Tam especially to give more advice and experience to all of startup bio-based company so that together we can win and then we can success and then bring greater success to our beloved nation. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we'll wrap up the session today. And I would like to thank everyone, our panelists, our MC, and also all the participants and audiences on the floor. Thank you very much.